This message reached you for a reason. Call it God, angels, universe. You've been directed here, and there is a part of this, or perhaps the entirety of this, that is going to crack open something in your perspective, and it's going to shift your vibration, elevate it in a positive way. This is perhaps that missing piece that you've been unconsciously seeking. And so it's coming in here for you today. Get ready to receive it. This is a very simple message, yet also extremely profound. You gotta stop waiting for a future moment to define who you are. Now, this isn't to stop you from setting New Year's resolutions. I actually believe that they're super powerful. There's going to be an exceptional video coming through of a New Year's resolution that completely changed my life. And this is also not to stop you from visualizing your future and having a direction of where you're headed to in your life. This isn't about that. This isn't about abandoning those things, because those things bring so much value and they're quite necessary for your human growth, for your spiritual growth, for everything in life. Though you got to fall in love with the present moment, with this present version of you. If you are constantly waiting for a future moment to define who you are, and you're waiting for that future manifestation to come in for you to become that person, for you to actually feel worthy, for you to actually feel good, it's never going to be enough. You got to fall in love with the present moment instead of constantly comparing yourself to a future version of you. Because when you constantly compare yourself to a future version of you, you fall into this gap, this lack of like, I'm not that person yet. I'm not him yet. I'm not her yet. I just don't have these things that have manifested yet. And there is a lack of appreciation for the person that you are today, for the circumstances that you've manifested today. There's a lack of appreciation and a genuine love for who you are today. And you're going to be constantly in this hamster wheel of it not being good enough. And let me explain to you exactly why that is. There are two things, if you remember from anything on this channel, I want you to remember these two things about your brain. First of all, your brain is scientifically a record of the past. It is a series of memories, of thoughts that you have had, that you've been programmed into, that accumulate and compound over time. At the same time, your brain is a goal-seeking machine. So it's a record of the past, so it's constantly scanning the past to understand what we've done right, what we've done wrong, and it's also trying to attain a goal. So this is why it's so important for you to have a vision of the future. Hence me starting this video by saying this is not about abandoning the vision of the future. This is not about not visualizing your future self and not going into affirmations and sometimes saturating the mind to affirm where you're headed, affirm what is true for you, affirm these things. At the same time, if it's always done from a place of where I am right now is just not good enough, who I am right now is just not good enough, you're going to constantly seek that future moment as some magical alternative for life. You are worthy simply for being at all phases of your life. You're worthy of unconditional self-love in all phases of your life. Not after attaining a certain goal, not after manifesting that SP, not after anything, any circumstantial change. You are worthy in this moment right now. I don't care even if you are literally hungover every single day and you're just like feeling shit about yourself. I don't even care. You're worthy still. You are worthy of self-love. You are worthy of many magical and miraculous things in this present moment. And you get to decide that there are behaviors that you want to change. You get to decide that there are circumstances that are out of alignment with who you truly want to be in a long-term basis. You get to have 2 feet on the ground, anchored deep in self-love, anchored deep in self-acceptance, anchored deep in self-compassion, and You get to have a powerful vision for the future. You get to say, you know what, I'm actually quite disappointed with this kind of behavior. I'm actually quite unsatisfied with the amount of money in my bank account. I'm actually not really happy with how I go about my day to day. How can I improve that? What do I desire to manifest? How do I want to expand through this, while also having a deep love and appreciation for who I am today? So it's not about removing the emotional fuel that comes from the things that perhaps make us angry. Like, I was actually in this beautiful client session, and my client was starting to feel safe enough to feel anger that she had been suppressing for years. And we did a couple of hypnosis sessions. So if you don't know this about me, well, actually, if you don't know me, hi, my name is Atena. Welcome to the channel. On this channel, we learn to love ourselves unconditionally, and we manifest our dream reality. So if that is something you're interested in, you should consider subscribing, and you can look for all the ways to work together in the description box below. So coming back to my client, so we did a couple of hypnosis sessions. We planted the seed of unconditional self-love. We planted a seed of trust. And it literally took 2.5 weeks for this woman to start to feel safer within. And she noticed that for the first time in a long time, she actually felt safe for this anger to surface, anger about certain facets of life, anger about certain situations. And instead of being afraid of her emotions, because sometimes like we have these emotions and we're afraid of them because we personalize them and we let them mean all sorts of things about our identity, about who we are. But when we allow ourselves to actually feel safe like she did, she's like, okay, this anger is showing me that I need to take this new direction. Anger, for example, like just out of all the emotions, is such a powerful roadmap to tell you what is in coherence with your life and what needs to actually change. When we learn to respond to our anger with love, with compassion, from a space of, I love myself. I deeply, truly love myself. I am trusting myself, or I'm learning to trust myself, because trust is one of the highest forms of self-love. As you begin to genuinely feel this in your body, suddenly you're no longer afraid of emotions. You're no longer afraid to admit that certain things are just not working. And you use negative emotions. I don't like to categorize them as negative, but obviously we like to laugh more than we like to cry most of the time, right? And when we learn to use these negative emotions as fuel for change, instead of trapping them, keeping them stuck and saying, okay, once I manifest this future version of myself, once I change all my circumstances, then I won't feel this emotion anymore. Then I will be worthy enough. Then I can love myself enough. That just doesn't work. Because you're going to do all of this while all the while ignoring and suppressing a part of you that you've deemed unworthy. And because your brain is a record of the past, you're going to remember this process. It's the journey that matters way more than the final result. And because you're going to remember this process as a process of you wanting to prove that you're good enough, you wanting to prove that you're worthy enough, you running away from your emotions like they're this big bad beast that don't deserve any of your attention. Once you attain what you want to attain, guess what? You're still going to be in the lack. You're still going to be in that process of, okay, but how do I feel better about my life right now? Okay, I need to set the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And just as an FYI, you're a human being. You're always going to have that next goal. If all of your validation, your self-worth and self-love is put on the other side of that finish line, you are going to never end it, because there's always going to be another goal. There's always going to be something you desire to manifest. In fact, if you don't have something that you desire to manifest, a goal, a growth, like you're literally going to put yourself in a state where you're dying. They say when you don't have something that you're growing towards, when you don't, like the Japanese say, have an ikigai to wake up to work towards, you are slowly going to fade away. It's our human nature. We all desire to grow. We all desire this contribution, and we all desire this. And it's powerful to have this desire. It's powerful to act upon it. Though you got to act upon it from a place of deep self-love and deep self-acceptance, and to fall in love. And I know that sometimes sounds really tricky, especially when things are not going great. Fall in love with this present moment. Fall in love with the lessons that you're learning in this moment. Have the audacity to slow down and feel what your human needs to feel. Your human feels angry. Let her, let him. Have a safe space, close the door, have a rage party without letting it mean anything about who you are. This is why it's so challenging for so many humans to feel emotions, because we feel something like anger, we feel something like jealousy, we feel something like shame, we feel something like guilt, and then we let it mean something about who we are. But the fact is that all your emotions are temporary. They are temporary transmissions trying to communicate something to you. They're not here to tell you that you're unworthy. They're not here to tell you that you suck and that you should go crawl into a hole and that you got to change everything before you can allow yourself to feel good. They're not here for that at all. They're here to communicate something to you. A programming is out of alignment with you. A situationship is out of alignment with you. A career path is out of alignment with you. How do you choose to respond? You got to disidentify with your emotions long enough to observe them with compassion. Disidentify from different situations, detach. And if you need support to detach, I'm going to link a couple of videos below that really help with this mindset. Detach from them long enough to have a clearer vision. Perhaps what you're even setting out, like the goal that you desire to manifest, perhaps it's even coming out of lack. And if it's coming out of lack, it's already going to be out of alignment with who you are. And if this part sounds a little confusing, I'll really invite you to come into the space, a free community that I've created, the It's Possible community, where we literally suspend our disbeliefs and we go unapologetically forward towards what it is that we desire to manifest. And within this free community, there is an activation, a future self hypnotic activation that is in there where you're going to experience traveling into the future, experiencing your future self from a space of deep unconditional self-love. And this really helps like have a genuine vision for the future from a soul grounded place, from a place of I freaking love me, and I love me so much that I know what I desire desires me. I'm unapologetically setting my feet forward, and I'm shedding the layers of the past. So I'm going to link that for you below. It's such a powerful activation. Everyone who joined live and everyone who had access to the replay freaking loved it. So definitely come in and join us in there. And I want to remind you who you are right now. You are the product of over 13.8 billion years of evolution. Let that sink in. You are literally made of star stuff. There are a series of billions of different coincidences and things that have happened for every situation in front of you, for who you are to manifest. You are magic walking on legs. You are a freaking miracle. And if you ever doubt that, just take a look at this fascinating human body, noticing that your eyes literally run like 2 marathons a day. I could list a series of crazy, wild things that happen. In fact, let me know if you want me to make a video like that below, because sometimes when I remember this, I'm like, holy shit, we were literally walking miracles. But you are the product of 13.8 billion years of evolution. Stop taking every freaking thing that's happening in front of you so personal, because you are part of a huge organism. You are part of this magical, mystical place we call Earth. And in fact, just take a moment, if you even want to close your eyes or have a soft gaze, to look at yourself as you are tuning into this message. Whether you're sitting, whether you're walking, whether you're driving, and if you're driving, please only listen, do not watch. And like, just notice this human, this ball of energy moving through this earth on the street that you are, in the home that you are, the office space that you are. Zoom out, go into the sky, zoom out from the city that you're in, the country that you're in, go all the way up into the sky, go maybe all the way up to where the moon is or close to the sun. I have an easier time with the moon because in the sun, I'm like, I'm going to burn. And Notice the stillness. Notice that this is a rotating rock in the Milky Way amongst the galaxies that are so vast and so profound that our human brain can't even begin to really comprehend it. Surrounded by different planets, by different stars, like it goes so far, we can't even comprehend it. It's impossible for us to comprehend it. And you are this ball of energy in the midst of it all. You are so much more powerful and so much more interconnected with everything that your human brain can actually give you credit for. And at the same time, when you take every teeny tiny thing so personal and you're so afraid of these micro emotions that can feel like a lot in the body until you learn how to hold more space, how to allow yourself to stay almost like grounded in the instability, grounded in the void, you open up yourself to so much more. Now, if you're still in the outer space, come back into your human body, come back, sit with me right here. Take a deep breath and lower your shoulders. Stand up just a little taller right now. Breathe in and out. Let yourself feel the calmness that comes from zooming out of whatever it is that you're so focused on. You are so worthy simply for being. And I know that your mind wants to pick up on the million things that you're lacking, that's going wrong. And I promise you that if you actually take the time to notice the million things that are going right, from everything from the fact that you can blink till you can breathe, that you can tune into this message from whatever device, from wherever you are in the world. And I can go on and on and on, showing you how many things you could be grateful for. The more you make that practice, the better your life is going to get. What is the point of chasing things to never feel good enough, to never feel worthy? And there is a practical practice that I want to give to you right now. And it's going to feel like a part of your brain is going to literally resist this, and I'm calling it out for you right now. I want you, as soon as you're done watching this video, or if you're at work, do it later tonight, but make the commitment, make the decision you're going to do this. I want you to backtrack for the last 10 years of every decision that you made, whether it was big or small, that allows you to progress in your life in a beautiful way, in a powerful way. Even if amidst all of that, there was a moment of, a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about how this is now officially now, I think over 10 years ago, but was it 10 years ago? I think so. Anyways, I got to do the math. But I was dumped from someone who I thought, this is my person, this is my SP. And I got cheated on, I got left in the most brutal way. And right at that moment, my brain was like, this is a disaster. Our life is a disaster. We suck. We're not worthy. Like, we're never going to find love. At the same time, that moment became such a catalyst for inner healing. I began to do therapy. I began to learn how to respond to anger. Up until that point, I was afraid of the emotion of anger. And so in that moment of destruction, there was a rise of a becoming of the woman I am today. So I'm so grateful for that moment. And I can look back and say, wow, a powerful decision I made in that moment was to decide to engage with therapy, was to decide to do personal development. And I can go on and on over the years, and I'm sure that you can too. We're so used to looking back at all the mistakes we made, all the things that didn't go right. We should be further right now. You should have done this. You should have done that. When you start to should on yourself like that, first of all, you give your brain an impossible decision. I should be richer right now. I should be more in love right now. I should be somewhere else in my life. Your brain's like, oh, we should be doing this? Okay, let's look back at the past. Oh, it's impossible. We're in an impossible situation. Oh, here, let's invite some hopelessness. Let's invite some victimhood. Let's invite some unworthiness. Let's just invite all of that into our energy field. Holy shit. Your brain's a record of the past. And if you keep doing that to yourself, you're effed. So make it a point. Write down everything and be as specific as you can on the timeline, as much as you can. I'm proud of this decision. I'm proud of this adventure. I'm proud of this moment. Thank you to me. Thank you to God. Thank you to my angels for this redirection. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And bask in that list and notice how much better you feel. And notice that you get to continue making these decisions. You get to make them at any moment that you want. You know, last year, and I'm going to speak about this more directly on the channel, at the 30 minutes to the countdown between 2023 and 2024, so I think it was like 11:30 or 11:45, I took my 2 last sips of champagne. It gave me a headache, and I was already working up the courage to give up alcohol. And then I decided, that's it. This is it. I'm going sober. Those were my last 2 sips. And I went through such a transformation in the last year, I'm almost out at a year sober. I almost can't freaking believe it. It's been such a wild ride. And you know what? There are so many times throughout the year that I almost was like, well, this isn't such a great decision. Like, it didn't really give me much. Why? Because my brain wasn't focusing on how much it actually helped me. Until I sat down and I began to do the work. I'm like, after the initial high of making the decision, a couple of months later, like, I started to not feel great about the decision. And I'm like, because my brain kept looking at all the past, saying like, look at all the things you're letting go, look at all the things you abandoned, look at all the party times you had, all the wild nights you had, all of this, blah, 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 blah. Look at all the societal things that you're letting go of. And that's when I was like, okay, my brain is so conditioned to look at alcohol as something that is still out of alignment with me, but it's so used to this past. Let me find gratitude for what it's showing up in my life today. Making that list, feeling how proud I am every time I come back from a restaurant, I come back from a party sober. It's like the opposite of FOMO. I don't know what that is. If you know, drop it in the comments below. And then I began to remember the power of this decision. So sometimes you got to work for it. In some ways, you got to remind yourself, like things that could be really obvious. Like, I could tell you right now, I quit drinking alcohol. It could be super obvious for you of how amazing that decision is and how much it could bring to someone. And yet at some point, because of the way my brain was processing it, it didn't look for that until I trained it to look for that using my consciousness. You have consciousness for a reason. Utilize it to your advantage. Stop thinking of all the ways you fall short and start paying attention to all the ways you are showing up for you, for your vision. So again, it's so powerful to have a vision of the future. We're going to continue to talk about that on the channel. And at the same time, clean up the energy of the present moment. Clean up the energy of the past moments. Take that time, trust me. Please, for if there's anything you take from this video, I know it sounds tedious and it sounds long. You're going to be so grateful that you do this. Even if there's just 5 things in the last 10 years that you're grateful for, that you're like, wow, I'm so happy. This 10x'd my career path. This 10x'd my personal path. This 10x'd how I choose to filter my reality. Do you know, for the longest time, in my gratitude journal, I would write, I'm grateful for gratitude journaling. And that sounds so funny to say, but I was like genuinely like, wow, I'm at this place where I'm recognizing that my thoughts and my actions matter. That if I take the time to gratitude journal, it matters because I began to notice the compound effect of it. Sometimes that's the thing you can also be very grateful for. I am grateful that I began the process and I'm devoted to that process. And if you want to know how to stay more disciplined and devoted with your manifestations, I'm also going to link those videos below. So if you enjoyed this, please do give this video a thumbs up. It really helps spread the channel. If you want to subscribe, share this message with a beautiful friend. Maybe you guys can do the going back to the last 10 years and exchanging with each other what happened. That would make me so happy. Drop it in the comments below. And until next video, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.